Hello, and this is Mike. I'm one of the hosts of the Abundant Aging podcast.
And this is Beth. I'm the other host for the podcast. And I think this is the first time, Mike, that you and I have appeared together on the podcast.
But it's certainly not the last time, Beth, and we're looking forward to some upcoming shows where you and I can really unpack kind of the foundational tropes of ageism. And I think hopefully use that as a great foundation leading into our symposium in October, right?
Absolutely. It'll be October 4th, 2024 this year. And more information and teasing about that in the upcoming weeks. In the meantime, we're taking a little bit of a summer break here, and I'm going to invite you to revisit some of the fantastic conversations that we've had over the course of the past year or so.
That's right. So absolutely make sure to stay tuned and listen to more of great content that you've already enjoyed. And please send us your ideas for future guests, future episodes, whatever you need to share or whatever you'd like to share at abundantagingpodcast.com.
Looking forward to hearing from you and to providing new episodes coming a little bit later this summer. Thanks all for participating and listening and being with us here on the Abundant Aging podcast.
Thanks for listening, all. We'll look forward to seeing you guys back in the fall.
If you were to name, what are the top 5 central ideas or values that are most important in this work that you're doing and that everything else kind of connects with?
So it's reimagining what it means to be an older person. And in some ways, we are making our path by walking. I'm not my grandmother. And we have to make room for all the different paths. So there is that. What does it mean to be an older person today? And unfortunately, the whole successful aging and aging well often gets tied to how many youthful attributes can you manage to hang on to? Are you still high school skinny? Are you, can you still climb Mount Everest? Can you still? So I'm interested in how do we redefine this phase of life as we're closer to the exit than the entrance? And so that sort of curiosity is there, and that sort of welcoming of different paths and exploration of different paths, and even borrowing from what's happening overseas. What can we learn from there? Another piece is also around the shame that gets sort of associated with not having enough money when you're 65. And our individuality makes us look to self-blaming versus to the systemic issues, changes in the pension plan, et cetera, that have landed so many here. So I don't want to approach what I'm doing from the deficit side. You can only afford this. I want what I'm creating to be beautiful, to talk about the benefits of coming into this new way of living. And so describing that and holding that for people to see. You don't have to be isolated. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to live in a place or in a community that you don't feel connected to. And the last thing I would say is this focus on intergenerational. This sort of practice and tendency that we have to isolate older people, to set us aside, to see that we don't have anything to contribute. I want to push back against that by creating these intergenerational communities that include a place for older people to thrive, that take into account the reality of resources, take into account loneliness issues, take into account. So I fully see some sort of co-working space in these, in
Mhm.
what I'm designing, or if not there, I have a partnership with someone who's nearby that offers some kind of discount. So those are the kinds of values that I'm bringing into this.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Elizabeth. One thing when we like to do is we come to the end of our podcast just to ask our guests questions about their own experiences of aging. So maybe we ask this of you. Are you
Yes,
ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. But first, just one more thing before we get to those questions. Um, how can people connect with you? How can they learn, keep abreast of what you're doing? Is there a website or that you would like to share?
Yes, NuuAge Coliving is the website. And you can reach me at Elizabeth at NuuAgeColiving.com.
Okay.
And that's
Question.
New Age spelled Nuuage.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, question number one. When you think about how you have aged, what do you think has changed about you or grown with you that you really like about yourself?
I was with a group recently, and we were doing what we call pits and cherries. Okay. For, as we came out of 2023 and then came into 2024. And one of the things that struck me, and I feel the same way, is that, and these were people, they're all in their 60s, 70s, 80s, some even in their 90s. People didn't have regret. And it's not because bad things had not happened. There had not been divorces, estrangement from children, illnesses, etc. But everybody liked who they are today. And what they realized, and I think what we realized, is that all that has happened, the beautiful and the unbeautiful, has created this person that we are today. So it's not that we like all of the bad stuff that happened, but the bad stuff, the challenges of that, overcoming it, how we did, what we learned, created who we are today. And that's how I feel.
I,
So, in many ways, this is the happiest time of my life. I'm more grounded, more content this period than I was when I was 40.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Pits and cherries. Okay. Question number two. What has surprised you the most as you've aged?
I think it's dealing with the physical changes. And I love Pilates, and I do it 2, 3 times a week. And she'll say, okay, turn around and face the mirror. No matter how fast I think I'm going, I'm always the last one. And even when I try, let me turn around as fast as I can, I look around, they're all turned around. So they're just physical things that um, you accept. And, sometimes you pass a mirror or a window and you catch your reflection and you're like, who's that old woman there? Because in yourself, you feel like you always did. And sort of, I think we're coming into a kind of renaissance of older women, which is we're in an interesting time. And boomers, like we were all elbows and knees on civil rights, on women's rights, we're all elbows and knees now on how what it means to age, and we're just not going down without a fight. So this is an interesting time, I think, especially to be a woman, where so much is attached to our physical appearance,
Mhm.
and we are resisting being shoved off the stage.
Excellent. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Here's the last question. Is there someone that you have met or who's been in your life that set a good example for you in aging? Someone that inspires you to age abundantly? It's the way we talk about it around here at United Church Homes.
There are actually many people, as I mentioned to you, some friend. I turned 70 in December, and some friends hosted a surprise party for me where they got in the room friends who had been friends decades. And these are the friends that hold me down. These are the friends that when I'm wobbly or, remember kind of what I can be and do. And we're on a journey together around our health, around how we're dealing with caretaking, some of our children who've gone off the rails. And there is, from each one, I get a different thing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Later today, one is coming over. When I want, hardcore, total Team Elizabeth, battling for me, she's one of the ones that I would go to. She's also going to tell me the truth, even if I don't like the truth that she's telling me. You need her. I need her. So at this stage, I'm very intentional about friendship. I make the time, I do the calls, I have the coffees, I get the groups together for dinner. It's important. And um, I know people and what's happening with them, and they know what's happening with me. And so that allows where I can't say there's like one
Mm-hmm.
person, and I can't say that they're all women.
Right.
There are some remarkable older men who are bringing a different perspective to aging. I had a black male friend of mine say to me that suddenly he's not threatening, that if he gets on the elevator, there was a time he's used to women kind of clutching their purse. And now with all that gray hair, he said, I think, oh, I could push him down. So, and that's a different sort of interpretation or experience of aging than somebody else might have. So, yes.
Yeah, I love the inclusivity and the variety of folks that are around you that help you to age abundantly. Well, I want to thank you so much, Elizabeth, and I want to thank all of our listeners as well to hanging in there for this episode of the Art of Aging, part of the Abundant Aging podcast series of United Church Homes. And we want to hear from you. What's changed about you as you've aged that you love? What has surprised you most? And how do you define abundant aging? And who is your abundant aging influencer? Join us at www.abundantagingpodcast, all one word.com to share your ideas. You can also give us feedback when you visit the Ruth Frost Parker Center website at www.unitedchurchhomes, all one word, .org/Parker-Center. And Elizabeth, tell us once again, where can people find you?
You can find me at Elizabeth at NuuAgeColiving.com. And that's New Age, NuuAge. And the website has the same name, New Age
Thank you very
Co-Living.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.